Hi guys, my name is LC and welcome to the F1 Debate Show, when in this episode I will be reviewing the 2016 Canadian Grand Prix, which has just finished around an hour ago. Now, like the F1 Debate Show, which came out yesterday, if you haven't seen it, please watch it. JT is absent, and that is because he is still visiting family, but he will be back with the F1 Debate Show next week in our next video, which is the preview of the European Grand Prix in Baku, which is next week, as we are in the first head-to-head races. So I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's start off with the Canadian Grand Prix. So Lewis Hamilton started off on pole position for a race that was looking like it was going to start bucketing down, much like 2011, at any point. So he started off in first place, and the first big thing in the race was that Sebastian Vettel made a massive, around an 18-metre jump from Lewis Hamilton into the lead, and he just shot past him. Took about maybe 3-4 seconds to emit, and then Lewis, he said he came out of absolutely nowhere. So Sebastian Vettel led into the first corner. Nico Rosberg made a great closing the gap on Lewis Hamilton. He was touched and then was forced to run wide. He rejoined after cutting the corner, but then dropped back into 9th place. And even then, after 10 seconds, the race wasn't going Nico Rosberg's way. But it was looking fantastic for the two Red Bull drivers, Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo. They made fantastic gains on that. Verstappen went in front of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo and was making amazing progress. Now, this is a driver that I really wanted to win the race, and JT definitely wanted to do really well like he did in Spain and get on the podium and lift and the trophy. The first place would be great, but any would be amazing. Would be happy for Red Bull to take. So he was doing really well, keeping Daniel Ricciardo at bay for most of the race, really, obviously starting off and then. All the cars started off on the ultra soft tyre, apart from Rio Haryanto, which was on the red marked super soft tyre, and the soft marked tyre, which was a few of the midfield drivers such as Jolyon Palmer. On the topic of Jolyon Palmer, unfortunately, he was one of 3 drivers to retire from the race. Now, these drivers were Jenson Button, who retired within 5 laps with an engine blowout, which was incredibly sad to see. The second driver was another Brit, so not fantastic there, was Jolyon Palmer again. He lost power, which led to him colliding with the wall, which was unseen by the cameras, and then forced to retire from, I think it was floor and suspension damage. Subsequently from a power, it was a water leak in the power unit, and then Felipe Massa again had a problem with the power unit, and which was a real shame for Felipe Massa, because he has finished all 7 races. He's finished all 6 races with a points finish, and then the 7th, no, unfortunately not. So that is a real shame to see, especially from a man who is fighting to stay into Formula 1. So it was a great race by then. Obviously, Sebastian Vettel was chasing down Lewis Hamilton, who had ran into the distance, leapfrogging each other. It was when Sebastian came in for his second pit stop, Lewis went into the lead. The thing that caught out Sebastian was when he went into pit after the fire of Jenson Button. The virtual safety car came out. That was switched off as Seb came into the pit lane, and that meant that Lewis could take the lead. He could put his foot down after the virtual safety car went away. So a great run by him. Now, his teammate Nico Rosberg, it wasn't good in any means for him. Obviously, the championship leader, he needed to claw something back from that. So the first time he was clawing his way back from 9th place. That was also with 1 pit stop. The strategy from Mercedes was amazing. They got it fantastic for Lewis. They also got it well for Nico Rosberg. For first, he started off with the ultra soft tyre and then made 1 pit stop about lap 20 in the race, and then moved on to the yellow-marked soft tyre. He was making progression from 9th place and clawed his way back to 3rd place before he had to come back into the pit lane as he had a slow rear left, I think it was, puncher, which is a real shame. He found out, though, on the final straight, which means that he could claw something back from the race, which was great to see. At least he didn't get it, around the sector 2, when he wouldn't be able to make a great entrance back into the pit lane. The tyre would have probably shredded away, and he would be dropping positions. He then went back out on a new set of the yellow soft tyre, so he made 2 pit stops. Obviously, one more than was allocated in the race that he was supposed to do from the strategist. And then his battle for around the last 15 laps of the race was between Max Verstappen. Now Verstappen was doing fantastic. He was running in the podium positions, but unfortunately dropped to fourth place after an amazing drive by Bottas, and then just sod's law, that's where he ended up. He was in fourth place and he was keeping Rosberg behind. He was keeping him at bay. Fantastic. Lap 69 came one of a move that, Rosberg, if he looks back and he'll think this is such a rookie mistake. He came into the final. Corner, the one where you come out into the race of champions, and then he span. He went on the left hand side, the inside of Max Verstappen, caught him, and then went round. Absolutely devastated. But it was a rookie mistake. I mean, I was laughing more than I was like, oh god, that's. You couldn't believe it. So how could he make a mistake like that? It was just unbelievable to see. But an amazing drive by Max Verstappen to keep Nico Rosberg at bay and pick up fourth place, 12 points to add to a 25 at Spain, and then a 0 at Monaco. These are his reigns as Red Bull, so he'll have picked up 25, 30, 37 points whilst he's been at Red Bull in 3 races. I guess you could slow that down and stretch it out between the 3 races, but making progression from Toro Rosso when he'd be in 1, 2, 3, a few points to get with that car. Speaking of Toro Rossos, which one moment that I was, particularly watching in the race, it was about lap 67, and Max Verstappen was coming up to lap the field, and he came across Daniel Kvyat, and you thought, well, is Daniel gonna slow down and let him move aside and let him past? Obviously, because there's been a lot of shouting and things like that about moving forward, to the side for blue flags. So was he going to do that? But he did. But wouldn't it have been such controversial if he didn't? What would have happened? Leave your comments down below if you think something would have happened then, because I did. I wanted to leave a comment in our section, as somebody else saying, oh God, this is mad, something's going to happen here, Daniel will move for Max, Nico will get past, and then Daniel will go, oh, you're welcome, mate, I did that, because I didn't want him to get past, that would have been, amazing to see, so controversial. The next team to move on to is Force India. Now, they did a fantastic race. Nico Hülkenberg was in 8th place ahead of his teammate Checo, who was in 10th place. They were doing a fantastic race, especially Nico Hülkenberg. We'll move on to Perez in a bit, but Nico Hülkenberg, he's fallen foul at every mark. My heart goes out to him so much, because he tries so hard, and then either the car or the tyres or something like that lets him down right at the last hurdle, and it's not Nico, especially now that he's been in Formula 1 a few seasons and he needs to progress, he needs to get somewhere fast. So Nico Hülkenberg drove that car fantastically to 8th place, which was absolutely unbelievable to see. He was absolutely flying in that car. He started 9th place on the grid, but still Sergio Perez started 11th, so they both made progressions from one step up. But yeah, amazing to keep it like that. Sandwiched in between those was Fernando Alonso of McLaren. So Force India was the team of the day, if we could give that award. But just as I said that, okay, this is, I said, team of the day. We don't give a team of the day, but the most controversial, the most exclusive trophy to give is Driver of the Day award. I was going to have a drum roll, actually, I forgot. But yeah, so Driver of the Day award. Now, I have the trophy here. It is, well, I have a secondary one. It is it's a Formula 1. This is a Formula 1 jersey, if you ever play rugby. So, who deserves this? Okay, so who do you think it is? Do you think it might be Fernando Alonso for getting that? It might be Fernando Alonso for driving an amazing race. For driving an amazing race as the only McLaren driver in the race. Is it Kimi Räikkönen? Is it Max Verstappen? Could it be the race winner, Lewis Hamilton? Well, no, it isn't. It's the man who came in 3rd place. So his 2nd podium in Canada. It is the Finnish driver, Valtteri Bottas. So well done. You have won the Driver of the Day award. So that's absolutely fantastic. I got an email from him, so I'm just going to pull that up. So there we go, Valtteri.Bottas77@hotmail.com. If anyone wants to email him, feel free. Don't tell them where you got the email from, or if you do, actually, I kind of mention it. So we got it from the F1 Debate Show. So Valerie.botas77@hotmail.com writes, "Dear LC and JT, thank you very much for giving me the Driver of the Day award. It's the most important trophy that I've ever won. More important than the third place. That has just finished my day off. I'm on such a high, and I'm going to go back to the hotel tonight in Canada. And I was originally going to stay in for a night in, but I'm now going to go out on the town in Montreal. Thank you very much for letting me win the Driver of the Day award. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next race in Europe when I can hopefully win the Driver of the Day award again. I love the F1 Debate Show, and I watch it all the time. My favourite presenter is..." Oh God, I'm blushing. "My favourite presenter is LC. He does say though, PS, JT is still really good. So, he does like us, me more, but yeah, great. Thank you, Valerie. Valerie.botas77@hotmail.com. So thank you very much for your email, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah, so there we go. You have won the Driver of the Day award, the best trophy you will ever win in your life. You're up there with some of the greats, such as Romain Grosjean, Stoffel Van Dorn, who was talking to Sky F1. He was gonna do the commentary for Sky F1 UK, but for some reason they decided to go with Paul di Resta. Still a great driver, but no Stoffel Van Dorn, I guess. Up there with Max Verstappen, who you kept at bay. Sergio Perez, who you kept at bay. He was many positions behind you. Daniel Kvyat, come on, who you kept at bay, many positions behind. What a fantastic drive by him. It was a great drive by them. Moving on to the next team, which is Haas. The two Haas drivers came 13th and 14th. Esteban Gutierrez was the leader of the two Haas drivers. Sort of a quiet race by them. Just flying under the radar, not doing too much, which is a shame. Gutierrez really needs this, but in terms of their head-to-head, rivalry within the team, like on the game you have, rivalry between your next teammate, they will definitely have that. So he's ahead of Roman, this weekend, if you like that, but unfortunately both out of the points. Gutierrez really needs a good show in the Haas, like Roman has, obviously, for the two in Australia and Bahrain. Australia won the Driver of the Day award, but on Bahrain he didn't. He would have, in terms of the only actual F1 driver on the grid, but obviously we had to give it to new boy Stoffel. Great by them. So the next team that I want to talk about is Sauber. Now, team orders, they didn't like him because in Monaco, as you remember, they both collided. They blamed Marcus Ericsson. Really? What would Sauber say now? Providing that Marcus Ericsson is the higher of the two Sauber drivers. He finished in 15th position. Felipe Nasr finished in 18th position. Now, Marcus Ericsson, I'd say he was a safe driver for next year. We're not doing driver predictions or anything like that. But come on, Felipe, you have really got to watch your back. Come on, what is going on? I don't know what to say to you. I don't really know what to say. You've got to step up your game because you're not the only Brazilian in. You haven't got that kind of monopoly like other players have, other drivers have, like Marcus Ericsson, being the only Swede in Formula 1, Swede, can you say Swede? Oh well, whatever. Only person from Sweden in the in Formula 1. You haven't got that beauty. You're the second Brazilian driver, and next year we could be seeing only one on the grid. And you might think, well, is Massa leaving because he's old? Well, it could be Nasr leaving and Massa staying in because Nasr, you're not doing a very good show, which really is a shame because, I'd want you to. The next person to mention, so we're going to mention Toro Rosso, but more specifically this man, the Spaniard, the second Spaniard in Formula 1 at the moment, but I'd say he is, and I'd say he also is the one who's outperforming the other one, the one with more experience and the double world champion. It is Carlos Sainz. Now, he is doing an amazing job. He's a leader in Sauber now, which is quite strange. You think he was when Max was, but now Daniel's come back. Who is he now? But he definitely is. He's established himself so much. He's a leader. Doing a fantastic drive from 20th position. You've got to remember that 20th on the grid, 20th position, all the way up to 9th. That is. How do you do that? How do you do that? And if Valtteri wasn't there, sir, you would be having this. not upside down, not the back. You'd be winning this. So it's a shame that he isn't. It really is. I mean, come on, Carlos. I really want you to have it in Europe. If you can do a great job in Europe, you have this. I'll write your name on. I'll write a little IOU. IOU, Driver of the Day award. If we were given Driver of the Day awards 2 or 2.0, I'd give you it then. No worries. But a fantastic drive by him. Now, the second man, Daniel Kvyat, is improving because, okay, so when you talk about Daniel Kvyat, you can't talk about him and not talk about what happened to him. He got kicked out of he did a great drive in Russia, got kicked out of Red Bull, terrible in Spain, terrible in Monaco, and terrible in you think you'd do terrible in Canada, terrible in Monaco, and then you think you'd do terrible in Canada. He's not the driver he ever was. He was at Red Bull, and then he was at Toro Rosso in 2015, no, not 2015, 2014. Sorry. I can't believe he has had a full season at Red Bull. You can't even believe it, can you, when you say it? But he's definitely improving. I mean, 12th place, is good for him. So you are making improvements, Daniel Kvyat. Well done. To think that you've been kicked down down so many steps by Frank Tots, Christian Horner, all these people behind the things, and Max Verstappen, who, by the way, is obviously bathing in all the glory of just being the Red Bull driver. Not even to mention this a brilliant 4th place today and his win in Spain. So amazing by them. Fernando Alonso was the only McLaren driver in the race, and he finished 11th place, just behind Sergio Perez. He missed out on points, which is a real shame. So McLaren leave Canada with no points. To think in Monaco, they had double points. Both drivers into Q3. Also on the Saturday, they were on such a high and such a low a day. Unfortunately, Jensen had that problem, which obviously everyone feels for him. Fernando, I mean, come on. I wish you had more in you. He had a quiet race. He wasn't mentioned much, and he wasn't watched much on the telly and things like that. But I really wish he does. It's his time to shine. It really is. And yeah, I mean, so obviously when we go to the British Grand Prix, which is, by the way, is in 3 races time, so we've got I'm not going to say that, Baku on Sunday, Austria, the next race after that, start of July, and then Silverstone. I want to see you at the British Grand Prix doing well in the points, and almost, I mean, it'd be great to see you in the podium. Come on, Fernando, this is your time to shine. I'm not going to rub it in, but it's been 11 years since you won your 2nd World Championship. Come on, man. As Jensen, unlucky. I'm sorry. Really, 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 really bad for you. The next team is to move on to is Kevin Magnussen, is Renault. You get a clue when I said Kevin. So let's start with Kevin Magnussen. He was the only driver from Renault to stay in the race in 16th place. Now he was driving today a bit like a rookie, which was a real shame because he's not. He had a season at McLaren and he's been really doing progression. I'd say he's the leader at Renault. He has been for many, many, many races. Probably, even Australia. After the race in Australia, obviously remember Palmer was running well, but Magnussen, despite his punch, I'd say even in Australia he was defined as the leader, and also he'd been in Formula 1 before, and Julian was a rookie. So Kevin Magnussen was the only one in the race, and he was doing a few little mistakes. He collided with 3 cars. He touched Kimi Räikkönen on lap 3, coming round the, I think it was the corner 5. He also ran across the pit lane limiter. It wasn't actually shown, but the stewards decided to not pursue him for that. By the way, speaking of pit lanes, guess who got their tyres out of the blankets and in the pit box? That's right, it's Red Bull. So well done. You win team of the day for that. I was coming in, I was watching David Cross says Daniel Ricciardo's coming into pit, and I'm like, oh my god, here we go again. Red Bull going to be twiddling the thumbs, watching the F1 debate show in the garage. Christian Horner runs in and goes, guys, what the hell are you doing? Daniel's out there. Huh? Oh really? Oh, I'm just waiting for LC to release his Driver of the Day award. Oh, let's get the tyres and then they go. So yeah, and then the second person, as I said, Julian Palmer, unfortunately had to retire, which was a real shame. They were really, making progression from where they were. The last team to talk about is Manor. The MRT, which by the way, if no one knows, that was the name of my old racing team. So yeah. Maybe that's what they progressed into. Maybe I should have stayed with them. Pascal Wehrlein, the young DTM world champion from Germany, he finished 17th position ahead of his teammate Rio Haryanto in 19th. Doing a great race. Doing a great race by Manners, to stay in the race, to just make progression by that. I mean, obviously they're going to get lapped, they're not going to get anywhere, but yeah, it's looking great for them, it really is. And I mean, you've had two cars to finish. That's better than Renault. So yeah, you're on the up and up. To think that you had 3 teams at the start of the year who were new. Well, Manor, you class them as new. I class them as new. Renault, I class them as new also, and then a brand new team, Haas. So far, Haas are in the lead so far, and then Renault, I don't know, pairing with MRT. So let's give you a rundown of the drivers' standings, where they are in the championship so far. Going into this, we had Nico Rosberg leading the World Championship. But does that still stand? Well, yes, it actually does. Nico Rosberg stays ahead with 116 points. Lewis Hamilton creeps in with 107 points. So that is 11? Yes, that's 11. Well done, mate. Well done, my math. So 11 behind Nico Rosberg. Now, Nico did good to claim that back. Lewis won the race. If Nico... Well, I'll tell you what, let's paint a picture for you. If on lap 69, if Nico had gone into the wall, that would have been game over for him. If it was game over, then Lewis would have taken the lead by 1 point. It would have also have been if he, say, got a puncher. He'd missed the pit lane, by the way, so, I'm just making up things, by the way. So don't think this is a race result. But if Nico, say, got a puncher or, was out the points, that's 0 points for him, 25 for Lewis, 1 point ahead. So there we go. Thank you very much. Sebastian Vettel at 78. Now his second place helped that, and he's jumped Daniel Ricciardo, who, by the way, was really a few races ago he was looking like he was going to beat Sebastian and become the better than Seb. So he goes ahead with 78 and 72 points, so 4 points behind is the Honey Badger at Red Bull Racing. 69 and 3 points behind is Kimi Räikkönen, the second Ferrari. So obviously he is being outscored by Sebastian Vettel by 69, 78. That's 9 points. On the very even 50 points is Max Verstappen after his 12 points with 4th place. He scored, what he claimed loads back, obviously from his 38, which he had at Monaco, and then didn't progress on because he crashed. The next man in 7th place is with the number of Lewis Hamilton, 44, is Valtteri Bottas. His amazing 3rd place gave him that amount. It gave him the points to move up to 7th place ahead of his teammate Felipe Massa. I was 2 Felipes. I mean, come on, change your names. Felipe Massa and Checo. So 44 points for Valtteri Bottas. 37 points for 8th place Felipe Massa, the second Williams. 9th place is Sergio Perez, and 10th place is Daniel Kvyat. Daniel is 2 points behind Sergio Perez, so he definitely could catch him. There's a big gap between Sergio Perez and Felipe Massa. Massa. But yeah, come on, Daniel, 2 points. You can definitely do that. If you could do that in Europe, that would be great. It's a tight street circuit. Do you like them? I hope you do. Yeah, email me at the F1 Debate Show. Obviously, I think I've got your email address at daniel.kvyat@27. It didn't work. But yeah. So yeah, tell me if you like them. I hope you do, because obviously Europe's next. The very tight street circuit. Romain Grosjean is in 11th, Alonso in 12th, Hülkenberg in 13th, Sainz in 14th, Magnussen 15th. Jensen Button is ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn. And I mean, I didn't even think that would happen. Do you know what? I wouldn't even believe it if they went halfway through the season. That never happened. Stoffel's not even there to work on his points, but yeah, Jensen is ahead, 4 points ahead. Stoffel in 17th, and this must be so depressing for the drivers, for Esteban Gutierrez, Julian Palmer, Ericsson, Wehrlein, Nasser and Haryanto, that they're being outscored by a man who's not even in Formula 1 at the moment. So as I say there, 18th is Esteban Gutierrez, 19th Julian Palmer, 20th Marcus Ericsson, Verline in 21st, Nazar in 22nd, and Rio Haryanto in 23rd. From 18th to 23rd, they have no points to score yet, which is very upsetting for Julian Palmer. Yes, it's upsetting for him, sorry. It's upsetting for him. But I was going to say Esteban Gutierrez, who, no points, that is such a shame. You're driving for Haas, and if your teammate Roman Grosjean can do it and has scored 22 points, well, he's 22 points ahead of you. How is he doing it and you're not? Because he's driving the exact same car as you, mate. If you like, the same amount of experience. You know, you were at Sauber, you were a Ferrari test driver. Ferrari's a team that Roman wants to go to, you know, so technically you might have the same experience, so, you know, come on, pull it out of the bag. Anyway, so that is the driver standings, and it was a great race in Canada, so fantastic. Next week we have the European Grand Prix in Baku, which will be fantastic to see. The incredibly tight street circuit in Baku. It isn't a European country, Azerbaijan. But yeah, it's the European Grand Prix, and it will be so fun to see. There's some of the pictures. I mean, come on, like that old castle with the barriers, you know, separating them is just unbelievable. You know, you just couldn't imagine that, could you? You know, that's unbelievable. I can't wait to see them around. We'll also have the longest straight in Formula One. We used to have China, which is about a mile long, no, about a bit less than a mile, and then this is going to be more than a mile, like the one back, you know, into the straight. I don't know, you know, the layout will definitely be highlighting in the preview, but that is going to be the longest straight in Formula One, a mile, and very special as well because it's going to be in the street, you know, the same street that residents of Azerbaijan will be driving every single day, which would be fantastic. You know, a bit like obviously in Australia, in Melbourne, you know, you will be driving on the same, you know, piece of tarmac or asphalt that, you know, the world's best have been driving on, which is fantastic to think. Anyway, so that is the end of the Canadian Grand Prix review, so thank you very much for watching this. This is, as I say, the second video that JT isn't in. He has been busy this weekend, which, you know, it happens. You know, we're just human at the end of the day. We're both, you know, Daniel Fiat at the end of the day, just a human. So obviously he will be back next week, which will be the European Grand Prix, the 2016 European Grand Prix, which will be coming out on Thursday, and that will be fantastic, so please catch that. On Friday we have episode 9, the penultimate episode of F1 Decoded, and that is between Graham Hill and Jim Clark, the legend from Scotland v the legend from England, which will be, you know, please catch that. And also the only father-son pairing to both win world championships, Graham Hill and Damon Hill, so that's something for the record books. On Saturday we also have the F1 Debate Show, episode 16, so please catch that. That'll also be with JT. And then on Sunday we have the review of the European Grand Prix, the first ever, what will have happened in the first ever race. It's always exciting to see inaugural races. I'm very excited to see that, to see what will actually happen in that race will be great. So, you know, make sure you catch all of our episodes. I hope you catched F1 Debate Show yesterday, and obviously we have all of them. All are available on the channel on YouTube, and we also share them on our Facebook page. If you haven't liked us already on Facebook, please go over and like us. Search the F1 Debate Show. We also get shared a lot with other pages, like myself and JT. Like we have admins and stuff like that on other pages. So yeah, please go and like us on all that. We did set a goal of 500 likes before the British Grand Prix, so we really like that. We also have 93 subscribers on YouTube, so please let that keep going. If we can get 100 into the triple figures by Silverstone, that would be great to see. It really would, because me and JT will be there, so that would be, yeah, whatever. Even on the train, you know, we get a notification saying 100 subscribers, and we'll be like, yes, 100 triple figures, yes. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this episode, guys. Please leave in the comments your driver of the day award, and also if you agree on our driver of the day award, Valtteri Bottas. We'll also be leaving like, you know, the rundown of who's won. So I'll just give you them. So in Australia it was Roman Grosjean. At Bahrain, the second race of the season was Stoffel van Dorn. The third race, which was China, was who was China? Oh God, I forgot. Who was China? 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 Oh, it was Daniel Fiat. That was right. Daniel Fiat for. It wasn't Toro Rosso, was it? It was Red Bull. Strange. The fourth race, which was Russia, was Kimi Raikkonen of Ferrari. The fifth race was new boy and new race winner and youngest race winner, Max Verstappen. Monaco was Checo, and then this race, well done, Valtteri Bottas. So you'll be having a party in Finland, which will be great. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this episode, guys. We both will see you in the next video, so thank you for watching this episode.